Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Elise if you're new here. Today I have a simple Christmas card to show you. Easy to replicate like a lot of my Christmas card videos are, so stay tuned to watch. Today is also if you are watching this when I upload it, the new release from Trinity Stamps, and it is everything that you need for the holiday season and the winter ahead. We are doing a very large hop today. The whole video team is for Trinity. So that is linked down below. So be sure that you check that out. And there's some giveaways too. Here is a look at the card that we are going to be making today. Like I said, really simple, but I think really lovely at the same time. So I'm using this new stamp set called Adore from Trinity Stamps. It has this huge greeting, which I love. I'm going to be doing some ink blending. So on my work surface, I have my mini media matte and some distress oxide colors in Tumbled Glass, Stormy Sky, Faded Jeans, and Chipped Sapphire. And I'm just going ahead and making a gradient using the ink blending foams. The cardstock that I am blending on is Bristol Smooth. It's my favorite cardstock to ink blend on. And this piece is larger than what I will end up with. Bristol Smooth comes in a 9x12. So when you cut it into a quarter size, it ends up being 4.5x6. But it's a good size to start with and to work with. I'm just going back and forth with these blue tone colors. It would be really great too to do this card in different colors. You could do it in more traditional Christmas colors. You could do them in darker blue so it looks more like a night sky than maybe mine does. Lots of things that you can do here with this stamp set. This is a 4x6 stamp set, and the greeting takes up, like the bulk of your A2 size card. So keep that in mind while you are creating. Just finishing up this ink blending. And then I'm going to move to cut down this panel. So I actually want a border around my panel. So I've got my trimmer here on the screen, and I am cutting this cardstock down to be 4 by 5.25, so that I have a 1/8 of an inch border around my card. So once I've got that cut down how I like it, I can start my stamping. So I have got my MISTI here, and I've got that "Oh Come Let Us Adore Him" big stamp already lined up in the window, and I'm just making sure that it's centered. I'm going to be doing a ton of heat embossing today. So I'm using my anti-static powder tool. Tip, if you're using distress oxide inks and you've done an ink blended background that you're then going to heat emboss on, just be sure that it is very dry, because that is a very wet ink. And your embossing powder will happily stick to it. Going ahead and using some VersaMark ink and really coating that well so that I can get a good impression. Stamping that down using my MISTI, and then using the sleeve of my sweater to rub against and across that stamp set to make sure that I get a really good impression. I'm just going to be using some white embossing powder for the sentiment. Going ahead and coating that really generously. Now you'll be able to tell that it is not quite dry because I have straight embossing powder on my card panel here. Not all of my oxide ink was dry. I was a little rushed when trying to make this and didn't let it sit for long enough. But I'm going to clean it up just with a dry, regular old paintbrush. Just sweeping that embossing powder off and putting it back into the little, container that I keep my powder in. So once I have all of that swept away, I can go ahead and heat emboss it. And it turns out I missed a spot on the heat embossing, but you will see how I fix that coming up. Now I'm going to stamp, there's a bunch of really beautiful stars that come with this. So I'm stamping all around my sentiment with those stars, again using VersaMark ink. And then I'm going to use a platinum silver embossing powder to do the heat embossing. You could also use gold. I think gold would be really, really pretty, or you could make this really easy on yourself and just do all of it in white. If I was mass producing these, that's what I would do just to save a step. So here's that platinum embossing powder. Just going to sprinkle that over my stamp set. And you can see on that letter C that there is some missing embossing powder, but I will clean that up here in a second. So what I do to clean that up is I just take a VersaMark pen. These are so handy. Highly recommend that you have one. And I just follow the outline of that C, and then I can hit it again with that embossing powder and get it to stick, and I am good to go. This totally fixes the mistake, especially because I've already removed that big stamp from my MISTI, and I'll never be able to stamp it perfectly again. So this just makes it so much simpler. I am now just going to heat set that remaining embossing powder, and then I can move on to card assembly. So I want to back this with a navy cardstock just to give it a little bit more depth, but I am going to pop it up. And so in order to avoid using foam tape, I'm going to use some craft foam or fun foam. This is a really cost-effective way to get dimension on the back of an entire panel without using foam tape, which can be a little bit expensive. So I'm just going to go ahead and take some tape runner. It's a lot easier to stick tape runner to paper than it is to stick tape runner to the fun foam. So what I do is I just use the tape runner, press down the fun foam in place, and then I will use the tape runner on the navy cardstock and then adhere down the fun foam to the paper instead of the other way around. You can also use liquid glue for this. That makes it really simple as well. But I had my tape runner out, so I was being a little bit lazy today. Just gonna go ahead and give that a generous coat to make sure that there's plenty for the fun foam to stick to. Also, because I know that I'm gonna have a little bit of a border, I don't go to the edge with this tape runner. And then I will just put that into place and press it down. And I think that little bit of navy border adds so much to this card. Now I'm just going to put some of that tape runner on my card base, which is just an A2 size card base. It's Nina 110 pound solar white, classic crest cardstock, my absolute favorite cardstock. I'm just standing it up to line up that blue panel, and then I will press it down, and that completes the card for today. This one was really fun to make and also very simple. Like I said, I think you could mass produce it. Be sure that you subscribe to see more from me. In the description box down below is the details about the video hop. So make sure that you go and click that link down below and watch the next video, and be sure that you enter the giveaways. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.